Hello everyone, this is our fourth and final video on the language of anatomy. This video will cover the abdominopelvic quadrants and regions. Remember, in the abdominopelvic cavity, this is where we're going to have most of the organs of the body. So this is kind of going to be a region of the body that's very busy, if you will. And so this region it's helpful to divide this region into smaller regions. Now, if you basically take your abdominal pelvic cavity and you divide it into regions by just simply drawing a cross, like you see here, kind of right through the belly button, you're going to produce what are called the abdominal pelvic quadrants. Right, because there will be four of them. One here, one here, one here, and one here. Okay. Now, these quadrants are named very simply. So on the right side of the body, the upper one is called the right upper quadrant, or the RUQ. On the left side, the upper quadrant is called the left upper quadrant, or the LUQ. On the right side, the lower quadrant is called the right lower quadrant, or the RLQ. And on the left side, the left lower quadrant is called the the left side, the lower quadrant is called the left lower quadrant, or the LLQ. Okay, you should know the names and the abbreviations for these quadrants. The only other thing that's going to be important here is that you notice the organs that you're going to find in these particular regions. So in the right upper quadrant, you have the right lobe of the liver, the gallbladder, the right kidney, portions of the stomach, small and large intestines. Okay. In the left upper quadrant, you have the left lobe of the liver, the stomach, the pancreas, the left kidney, the spleen, and portions of the large intestine. In the right lower quadrant, you have a region of the large intestine called the cecum. Attached to the cecum is this little tiny worm-like structure called the appendix in the right lower quadrant. And portions of the small intestine, reproductive organs, and the right ureter, which is this tube from the kidney that goes to the bladder. In the left lower quadrant, you have most of the small intestine and portions of the large intestine, the left ureter, and reproductive organs. Sometimes dividing the abdominal pelvic cavity into quadrants, we divide it up into even smaller regions. So if you kind of just draw a tic-tac-toe over the abdominal pelvic region, which you can see in this picture here. Now, when you draw the tic-tac-toe, instead of having quadrants, these are what we call the abdominal pelvic regions. Okay, so if we start from the top, kind of right underneath the rib cage here, you have these regions called the hypochondriac regions. Hypo means below or underneath. Whenever you talk about chondria or chondro, that refers to cartilage, particularly cartilage in the ribs. Okay? Underneath the rib cage in the middle, you have the epigastric region. And then right underneath the rib cage on the left side, you have the left hypochondriac region. If we go to the second row, okay, the region here to the right in the second row is called the lumbar region. The middle region here, middle of the tic-tac-toe, is the umbilical region right around the belly button. And then to the left side of the umbilical region, you have the left lumbar region. If you go down to the bottom row here, on the right side, you have the right inguinal region. Inguinal, remember, means groin. So you have the right inguinal region here. And then in the middle, you have the hypogastric region. And then on the left side of that, you have the left inguinal region. Now, again, when we look at these regions, it's important for us to know the organs that you're going to find in these particular regions, which you'll see in the next slide. So the organs that I want you guys to know in these particular regions are listed for you here. And this picture will show you portions of this, portions of where these organs are located within these abdominal pelvic regions. So we'll start with the liver. The portions of the liver can be found in the right hypochondriac region, the right lumbar region, and the epigastric region. The gallbladder is found primarily in the umbilical region. The stomach, again fairly large, can be found in multiple regions. It can be found in the epigastric region, the left hypochondriac region, and the left lumbar region. The spleen can only be found in the left hypochondriac region. The small intestine is kind of all over the place in a number of different regions. So you have small intestine in the umbilical region, in the left lumbar region, the hypogastric region, and the left inguinal region. Okay. Finally, you have large intestine. Oh, not finally, sorry. Next is large intestine. Again, large intestine is kind of all over the place. You have portions of the large intestine in the right inguinal region, the right lumbar region, the umbilical region, the left lumbar region, the left inguinal region, and the hypogastric region, even though you kind of don't see it in the picture here. It's kind of hiding behind the small intestine there. Next is the appendix. The appendix is only found in the hypogastric region. And then finally, the urinary bladder, which is also found only in the hypogastric region. So this concludes our videos on the language of anatomy, and I'll see you soon.